evening, viewers. Welcome to another wonderful edition of wonderful episode of her Athlete Talk series. This is Sport Medicine Professionals Athlete Talk series. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your presence. Today, we will be having a very special guest, a table tennis player by the name Esther Oribamise. She's Athlete Talk series of the Sport Medicine Professionals. Sport Medicine Professionals is a firm that has a team of sports and exercise medicine professionals who work in raising awareness, advocacies, and enlightening the public, athletes, people who are into sports, and a lot of other people about issues of sports and exercise medicine as it has to do with sports participation, injuries, doping, issues of fitness, of nutrition, everything that has to do with the health of people who participate in sporting activities, either as recreational athletes or elite athletes. Yes, good evening, Esther. How are you?
I'm fine. Good evening.
Thank you very much for joining us on today's episode of Athlete Talk. Because this is Sports Medicine Professional. Thank you for coming. My name is Oluseyi Animashao, and of course, I represent Sports Medicine Professionals. As I've said, we're a firm of sports and exercise medicine professionals who work to raise awareness and make advocacies on all issues of sports and exercise medicine, particularly as it has to do with sports participation. We work to work with athletes and people who participate in sports on issues of fitness, injuries, doping, all issues that have to do with sports and exercise medicine. So of course, this is a program we put up in our bid to raise that awareness that we hope to raise with our platform. So welcome, Esther. Can you please introduce yourself to our viewers today?
My name is Oribamise Esther. I'm a member of the Nigerian national table tennis team.
Thank you very much, Esther. Can you tell us how you got into table tennis, how you became a table tennis player, and at what age exactly did you start playing?
I started playing table tennis in the year 2018 at the age of 7 years. So then it was supposed to be there was supposed to be a competition among primary school pupils, which was the first edition in the Sheikh Bankole annual table tennis competition. So then I was in primary 6, and my coach came to my school then to select some pupils that will represent the Ado local government where I schooled then. So it came there, and fortunately, I was among the pupils that were selected. So that was how it started.
Okay. So thank you very much. That's really a quite inspiring story, considering when you started and how far you have gone in the game. We celebrate you at Sports Medicine Professionals. Before we continue, I hope our viewers know that just as we've announced on Twitter that today would be giving out gifts to some of our viewers who will be responding to questions that we posted in the comment section of the live platform as we continue. So Esther, can you tell us about fitness? How much does fitness affect your performance as a table tennis player, and in fact, how strenuous are your training sessions?
First of all, I would like to start with the impact and the importance of exercise and fitness. In all sports generally, there is need for athletes to be fit. because you know these activities that does with physical fitness. You know, some activity requires a lot of endurance, some flexibility, and all that. So in my own game, there is more need of flexibility. You know, the ability to think first, to react. You know, reaction time and that. So with exercise, I've been able to train myself more on my flexibility, how to change, you know, to react with time, speed, and then I think exercise has really been helping me in terms of that. Yeah.
So how strenuous are your training sessions
Yeah.
in table tennis?
When I go for fitness training, it is more strenuous than normal table work. You know what I mean by normal table work is when I'm on the board, like, okay, this is the training program. Maybe today I'm training my forehand to probably I'm training I want to train footwork. But when I go for endurance training, you know, those are the training that we do off table. They are
Yes,
more
yes.
strenuous. Yeah, they are more strenuous. Sometimes some of the training we make use of fitness equipment, you know, like
Equipment.
dumbbell. Yeah, yeah. So they are more strenuous than the normal table activities. But for my game,
Activities. Yeah.
we don't really go into so much strenuous activity. Like I've said earlier, we deal with a lot of flexibility than
Flexibility.
power, strength. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Esther, let us talk about nutrition. You know, nutrition as it has to do with performance in sports, particularly now your sport. Um, what do you think about nutrition? What do you eat, you know, before your matches or trainings? Do you have a preference for any particular meal that you think, you know, optimize performance when you have a game or when you have, you know, your training sessions?
To be honest, during competition, I don't always have appetite to eat. Yeah, to be honest, I don't have a particular meal because during competition, I'm always anxious. Like I just want to play. I just want to play. So most times I don't have the appetite. And even in normal training at home before competition and tournaments, to be honest, I don't really have a particular nutrition schedule. um I just eat the normal food that we eat at home. I know it is not really right, but to be honest, I don't really have
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay, okay. So let us talk about, you know, fluids now. You know, your hydration. How much attention do you pay to hydration? How much of fluids do you take before matches or training, during them, and you know, after the trainings or the matches? How much do you take fluids? You know, I mean by fluids, you know, water or sport drinks.
Depends on the atmosphere, you know, like whenever I'm in Nigeria, yeah, maybe national competition or even training at home, it depends on the atmosphere, the weather. If I'm training in a place that there is so much heat, you know, I take a lot of water. But then sometimes when we go for international competition, I don't really take water because, you know, the weather is always cool. And then so I don't really get dehydrated. So I don't really
Dehydrated.
measure how much I take water and that. But whenever I'm home, especially whenever I'm in Lagos in our national training hall, there is so much heat there. So sometimes even within 2 hours training, I can take probably 3 liters of water. Yeah.
Okay. 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 So Esther, do you have you know, your own personal training schedule? I mean, apart from the coordinated training activities when you represent, you know, go for events and all that, do you have your own personal training schedule?
Yeah, I do. But unfortunately, I just graduated from school actually. So unfortunately, when I was in school, most of my schedule don't really work because you know how education works in Nigeria. sometimes I would have scheduled like, okay, today I won't be having classes, let me go to training. But then sometimes there might be an impromptu class, then I would just have to leave the training and go to class.
Okay.
And sometimes I might be in school and then probably lectures will be cancelled. You understand? So I will have to seize the opportunity to go to training. So I don't really have a training schedule on, only when we are on holidays or probably strike. Yeah, I do go to gym. Yeah, I do some personal fitness training at home, and sometimes I make use of the gym.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any particular ritual before a match? Do you have anything you do in particular that you think probably naturally brings you luck? A lot of athletes will tell you they listen to music before they go for their games. Some will tell you they dance and all. So what do you do, personally?
I love to listen to music because when an athlete is prepared, especially in maybe it is about 20 minutes or 30 minutes before the match, the tension comes from nowhere, and maybe sometimes you even make use of the restroom twice or three times within 20 minutes. So I love listening to music, especially gospel music, like God, I know you can do this.
Okay, gospel music, right?
Yeah, those encouraging music, like God can do this, I know I have confidence in you, that it really boost my morale and give me some more confidence to go into the playing area.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you. So I want to ask about sleep. Sleep. Um what do you think about the relationship between sleep and your performance as a table tennis player? How much do you sleep personally? And do you think your sleeping pattern affects your performance?
It it can actually affect my performance, but then I always make it in a way that it doesn't affect my performance. But what I can just say is that whenever I'm preparing for a competition or in competition, like during competition, I prefer to sleep in the afternoon than night, because I don't know, sometimes in the night when I have a match the following day, I don't know why sometimes I can't get to sleep. And during I've trained before the time and then I've lost a lot of energy, so I will have to rest.
Let's talk about injuries now, sports injuries. What do you think? What is your perception of injuries? What's your perception of injuries, as a table tennis player?
Well, generally, injury is prone to physical activity. Generally, there is no way it cannot be eradicated, or probably let me just say it cannot be. There is no way we can do without it, but it can only be reduced. You understand? So I
Yes.
believe, physical activities comes with once you are into physical activity, there is much probability that you can
Injury.
but we can prevent it, and then it is always good to be prepared for it, so whenever it occurs we already know what to do about it, the necessary treatments, the drugs, and probably some exercise that will do to help reduce the pain.
Injuries. I want to ask you a very personal question. From your profile, I read that you studied human kinetics, physical and health education.
Yeah.
So I want to ask that how much has studying that course improved your knowledge of injuries and sports medicine generally? How much do you think studying that course has helped you?
Yes, that was actually my field, so studying that course has really been so much advantage on my own side. I have better knowledge about exercise, injury, the prevention and the treatment than other athletes that are probably studying some other courses. Yeah. So with the cause, without practitioner, I know some little ways that I can attend to minor injuries and also help some other injured people with first aid. And also,
Yeah.
I think I can give some education on how to treat minor injuries and how to prevent
Injuries.
them.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell us about your worst injury? The injury you
Mm,
consider as the worst one you've had. Can you tell us about it?
um, I actually don't usually have injuries, but there was a time I had tennis elbow. Yeah.
Tennis elbow.
Then
Yeah.
yeah. So it was really bad that I really found it hard to play with it. But unfortunately for me, I was able to win with it. But then my regular injury is
Wow.
growing.
Wow.
Yeah, my regular injury is growing. I always
Wow.
suffer from that a lot, and even now,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and even now I'm still suffering from growing. And it's usually come whenever I stop training. Maybe maybe something come up that actually couldn't make me train for a
Train.
week, or let me just say 5 days. So
Okay.
whenever I come back to the table, it's always a problem for me to move, especially to do
Okay.
some footwork training.
Okay. Okay. So, um, um, you are saying now, from what you said, that you understand that the way you train is actually related to the injury. That is, you're saying when you don't train is when you have
Yeah.
that. So, of course, what you're saying is that training is actually a good way to prevent that injury. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Esther. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So, what do you think about sports medics, sports and exercise medicine professionals, all of the team, sports medicine teams? What do you think about them? And
Yeah.
what do you think about their contribution to success of athletes?
Actually, to be honest, sports medics can their effort and contribution cannot be underestimated because they really perform a very great role in the performance of athletes and their success. When, for instance, in a team where there is no provision for probably a physio or an health practitioner, it's always going to be a problem. Maybe when an injury comes up with an athlete, and then maybe all they need is just minor treatment for the athlete to go back to play. But then because there is no health practitioner or a sport medics personnel there, it can end the athlete's performance, and probably the athletes might not be able to further in the competition. Like I said earlier, when I had tennis elbow.
Tennis elbow.
Yeah. So let's assume there wasn't provision for health practitioner there. There is probability I wouldn't be given, because when I had the injury, I was given, I think, 10 minutes break. So within that break, I was
Okay.
able to apply highs, and then it really,
Okay.
yeah, it really subsidized
Helped.
the pain.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think they are one of they are even very they we really need them in the team.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so, so, do you have any advice for sports medics? Do you have any advice for them about what you think they could do better in helping athletes? Any advice at all?
Yeah, the only advice I can say I have for them is that they should keep helping us. Yeah, they should keep giving us their best, because we know that their contribution goes a long way. And I won't really say I have advice for them. I would rather say I have to appreciate them.
So, I was asking about doping. I said, what is your impression of doping tests in sports? What do you think about doping tests in sports?
Actually, I would say that doping is really a very good initiative, because I think the only thing they are trying to make sure is that every athlete play under a general rules. And what I mean by that is that they make sure that there is no athlete that is probably cheating. They just want to make sure that all athletes make use of their natural strength and ability. That is how they can actually measure how they are well improving. Unlike maybe probably when an athlete make use of enhancement, all the drugs and all that actually enhances their performance, there wouldn't be a way to assess the how training has actually helped their performance. Excuse me. So I think doping is
Okay.
it's
So
really a wonderful initiative.
Okay. So Esther, let's talk about COVID-19 now. How much do you think COVID-19 has affected sports globally, and how much has it affected you in particular regarding your sports?
To be honest, the pandemic has really affected me personally, because I had a lot of plans for this year. Yeah, there's some tournaments I've been preparing for. There are some personal plans that I have, even apart from sports. Like, I graduated last year, so I was supposed to go for NYC this year. But now, because of the pandemic, it's really hard. I don't really think we can go this year any longer. So it has really affected me. Some training, like I could not train, like, nobody could go out. So it has affected my training. It has affected the tournaments I thought I would attend this year. And generally, the pandemic has really affected the world of sports in the whole world. Like, it has affected everything.
Okay.
As you know, Olympic
So
is now
you're saying training. Okay, I can hear you. Okay, so you're saying that your training has not been so much since the pandemic, because of course you cannot really go out like that to train. Is that it?
Yeah, I couldn't go out to train. Like, nobody is going out. It's a total shutdown. So I was only doing
But
some
have you been
physical.
exercising at home?
Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot every day.
Okay. Sports professionals have developed a booklet, a manual for exercise at home that you could find useful. I think you could visit our website after the live session to download it, and that is also to all of our viewers out there. So Esther, what advice do you have for upcoming athletes, on their careers, and then the role of sports medicine in their performance? What advice do you have for upcoming ones who are not who are not so internationally experienced as you are already? What is your advice for them?
My advice is just that I will tell them that there is life in sports. Yeah, first of all. But then all they need to know is that it doesn't come easily. It requires a lot of dedication, hard work, and commitment. Humility, yeah, that is very, very important. Their attitude, because I know a lot of athletes that were very good, but because of their bad attitude, they couldn't make it anywhere. Yeah. So I will just tell them that the most important thing is their attitude. Even if they are not able to make it in that particular area, like even they cannot make it to being probably national athletes or go professional, but with good attitude, ways we always open for them. Yeah. And I also like to tell them that being a Nigerian and also want to be an international athlete, you have to know that a lot of things are going to be hard. There's still going to be a lot of disappointments. So you really need to be prepared for that. And with the help of God, I think you will surely get there.
Thank you very much. So, we're getting to the towards the end of the session. If there's anything you can change about life, Esther, what would it be? If there's anything you could change about life, what do you
If
think?
there's anything I could change about life, I would just wish the world can be a better place to live. Yeah. I would just wish I can change people's mentality about how people are being wicked. You know, the issue, the sad news we are hearing every day, rapists, you know, killing of people. I would just wish I can change people's heart to be a more peaceful, like for people to reason more peacefully, and just wish that everybody can love each other the way they love themselves.
Okay. So, what do you think about this program, Athlete Talk? What do you think about the program?
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm happy because since the beginning of this life, this is actually my first. Is since the beginning of the pandemic. Sorry, this is my first meaningful IG live line. I mean, come live on IG, but sometimes I just come to have fun. But this is my first time that I will be investing my time in a meaningful, like more educative something like this. So I think it's really great, and I want to appreciate you for having me here to share my experience, and also to enlighten people, and also to get to talk and allow my fans and my family to hear me online. Yeah.
So, what do you consider your philosophy in life? What do you believe in? What what do you consider your philosophy in life?
Based on how I was raised, I so much believe in God, because I just believe a lot of things that we earn by our hard work is just by the grace of God. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes, I'm sorry to say this, sometimes I know prayer works really. But then with the way I was brought up, I just believe everything that happens, it's just because God wants it to happen. So I am more of a person that believes in the grace of God than just, I believe in hard work, to be honest. I believe in hard work. But then sometimes when grace speak, it's really very crazy. Yeah.
Okay. So, motivation, as a table tennis player, what motivates you?
Like, what actually motivates me is that when I see people that are doing well in the field of sports, especially in my game, I
Yeah.
believe I can too. Yeah. When I see people breaking limits, when I see people making records, that is actually what motivates me. So I'm always on the idea and believe that if this person can actually do this, then nothing is gonna stop me from doing the same or even doing more.
Okay. Okay. So of course we've come to the end of today's session. But before we go, someone asked a question. One of the viewers asked a question, and I think I would like you to answer that question. So the question was, how do you combine academics with sports? Or let me say, how did you combine it now that you have graduated? Going for all those competitions, tournaments. You were almost always traveling and all of that. How did you combine that with being a student?
Oh, like I said, it has been God. It has been God. It has not been easy. It wasn't easy, to be honest, because okay, let me just say this one thing. My final examination, I was supposed to write 9 papers. Yeah, with like normally with my mates, I was supposed to write 9 papers, but because the previous semester I wasn't around for the exams, so I missed. I think I wrote 16. I mixed 7 papers out of 11. So when I came back, that was my during my final examination, my mate wrote 9 papers. I wrote 16 papers because I know
Wow.
there won't be other semester for me to write those papers because it is my final year.
Wow.
So I cancelled all. There wasn't any competition then. Yeah, there was no competition then. So I cancelled everything. I was just focused on education. Okay, this is the final exam. I'm doing everything. You know, before there was a semester that I was not around for any exam. But thank God for my school, my vice chancellor, my lecturers, the dean of my faculty. Everybody really supports me. Like, they just really love me in that school. So whenever I'm out and I miss my exams, when I get back, they always make provision for me. So it has not been easy. It was not easy. Like, it was not easy. There was a time my dad told me that when my dad asked that, he asked how I was doing in school, and then I told him that I'm doing fine. He really wanted to ask me that my next semester I should bring my result home and show him, because he knows,
Oh,
the
wow.
way he was feeling, like, you aren't always around. How are you doing it? I know he was just not feeling comfortable with it. He wanted to ask me if I have carryovers. You understand? So I was just like
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. And to the glory of God, now I'm a graduate. I had no carryover all through my time in school. God really helped me with that. And I'm so really, really very proud of that. So it has
Wow,
been
wow.
God. And
Congratulations.
thank you.
Congratulations. My last question is that going forward, what is your plan going forward? What other things do you look into doing in the nearest future? What are your
To be honest,
long-term plans? Let me put it that way.
I am really thinking of furthering, I mean, education, probably my master's. But then the alternative is to go professional in my career. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So thank you very much, Esther. We
Thank
are really happy. We are delighted to have you on our program
you for
this
having
evening.
me.
Thank you for your time. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
things you've shared with people, and hope that you continue to be better. Continue to strive as you've always strived.
Thank you.
We are hopeful for more medals, more successes in competitions, the future competitions, and also we do hope that you try as much as possible to pay special attention to your health as an athlete. Focus on your training and make sure that you do as much as possible to prevent injuries. And as I said the other time, do not forget to check our website. You could find it on our bio on Instagram. You can
Please, you can
download
send that to me.
booklets
You
for
can send that to my
exercise.
DM. The site.
Okay. Okay, no problem. No problem. That will be done. So thank you very
Thank you.
much, and wish you good luck.
Thank you for having
Bye.
me. I really appreciate.